There is something quietly draining the strength out of your legs and arms right now, and the surprising part is that it is not on your kitchen counter as a pill or a poison. It is sitting on your plate 3 times a day, dressed up as ordinary food. Most people over 60 have been told what to eat to stay strong. Almost no one has been told gently what to eat less of. And yet researchers who study muscle and aging keep finding the same thing. The foods that crowd out real protein, that stir up quiet inflammation, and that leave your muscles short on the building blocks they need, can speed up the slow loss of muscle we all face as we age. In one recent study of older adults, scientists found that the more ultra-processed food people ate, the faster their grip strength tended to fade over the years. That is real, measurable weakness, tied to what was on the plate. So today, I am not going to frighten you, and I am not going to tell you that any food is forbidden. I am simply going to walk you through 5 everyday foods that tend to drain your muscle after 70, and for each one I will give you a simple, satisfying swap. No giving up everything you love, just a few smart trades. I am Dr. Grace Carter. For more than 17 years I have worked in clinical nutrition and internal medicine, sitting across the desk from people over 70 who told me the same quiet, worried thing. They said, "Doctor, I am eating plenty, I am never really hungry, but I am getting weaker anyway. My arms feel thinner. I struggle to open a jar. I need both hands now to rise from a chair." And so often, when we looked closely at their week of meals, the problem was not that they ate too little, it was what those meals were made of. Their plates were full, but they were full of the wrong things, the things that quietly push real muscle food aside. So if that sounds like you, I want you to relax your shoulders and stay with me, because what I am about to share is gentle, it is hopeful, and you can begin at your very next meal. Before we go further, if you find that honest health information explained in plain language is helpful to you, take one quiet second to like this video and to subscribe to the channel. It truly helps me reach more people over 70 who deserve to hear this, and it costs you nothing at all. Thank you. Now let me tell you about one of my patients, because her story is the reason I care so much about getting this right. I will call her Eleanor. She was 76 when she first came to see me, and she was discouraged. She told me she had actually gained a little weight over the past 2 years, and yet she felt weaker than she had ever been in her life. It did not make sense to her. How could she be eating more, even putting on pounds and still losing her strength? So we sat down together and went through an ordinary week of her meals, and the picture became clear very quickly. Her breakfast was a sweet pastry and milky coffee. Her lunch was often a sandwich made with processed deli meat, with a sugary soda. In the afternoon, she liked her biscuits and tea, and in the evening, feeling tired, she would heat up a frozen dinner or a packaged meal. She was eating all right, but in a whole day, she was getting almost no real muscle-building protein and a great deal of refined carbohydrate, sugar, and processed meat. Her plate was full, but her muscles were starving. We did not take away everything she enjoyed. We simply made a handful of swaps, the very ones I'm about to give you. About 4 months later, Eleanor told me she had carried her own groceries up her front steps for the first time in 2 years. That is exactly what I want for you. So let me explain why this happens, because once you understand it, every swap on this list will make perfect sense. As we age, our bodies go through a slow change that has a name. Doctors call it sarcopenia. It simply means the gradual loss of muscle as the years pass. It begins quietly in our 30s, it speeds up after 60, and it accelerates again after 70, so that without a good defense, we lose a little muscle every single year. Now here is the part almost no one explains. Your muscle is not a fixed thing that just sits there. Every single day your body tears down a little old muscle and tries to build a little new muscle. Picture a brick wall that is always losing a few bricks and laying a few fresh ones. When you are young, the building easily keeps pace with the losing, so the wall stays tall. But as you age, the building slows down while the losing carries right on. And here is the crucial point for today. The wrong foods make that gap worse in 2 ways. They take the place of the protein bricks your body needs to rebuild, and they stir up a low, smoldering inflammation in the body that actually speeds up the tearing down, so the wall shrinks from both sides at once. There is one more idea I need you to hold on to, because it ties everything together. To build new muscle, an older body needs a clear, strong signal at each meal, a good serving of high-quality protein carrying enough of a special amino acid called leucine. Leucine is like the foreman who shouts, "The materials are here, start building." When you are young, it takes only a little to flip that switch. But as we age, the switch gets stiff. Doctors call this anabolic resistance. Your older muscles need a bigger, clearer protein signal before they will build at all. Now you can see the real danger of the foods we are about to discuss. Every time one of them fills you up, it steals the space where a strong protein signal should have been. You feel full, but the foreman never got the message. Let me walk you through the 5 and the better choice for each. The first food to limit is ultra-processed and refined carbohydrates that crowd out your protein. I mean white bread, sugary breakfast cereals, pastries, crackers, packaged snacks, and most boxed and frozen convenience meals. Now, I am not telling you bread is evil. The trouble is not poison. The trouble is what doctors call displacement. These foods are cheap, soft, easy to chew, and they fill you up fast, so they quietly take the place of the protein and the real whole food your muscles are crying out for. Remember Eleanor's pastry breakfast. It filled her stomach, but it sent no building signal at all. That recent research I mentioned found that as people ate more of these ultra-processed foods, their grip strength tended to fade faster over the years, partly because such diets tend to be lower in protein, fiber, and key minerals like magnesium and selenium. So here is your swap. Do not aim to give up bread forever. Aim to never let a refined carbohydrate sit alone on your plate. Pair it, or better, push it aside, in favor of protein. Swap the sweet pastry for 2 or 3 eggs. Swap the sugary cereal for plain Greek yogurt with berries. Swap the cracker snack for a small handful of nuts or a piece of cheese. Same effort, a completely different signal to your muscles. The second food to limit is excess alcohol. Now I want to be especially gentle and especially honest here. A glass of wine with dinner is one of life's pleasures, and for many people it is perfectly fine. The issue is excess, regular, heavier drinking, day after day. Here is what the science shows. Alcohol, in larger amounts, gets in the way of the very process that builds muscle. It blunts your body's ability to use protein to lay down new muscle, so even if you eat well, the building signal is muffled. On top of that, heavier drinking can dull the appetite and take the place of nourishing food and calories, so older adults who drink more sometimes eat less of what their muscles truly need. It can also affect how steady you feel on your feet, which matters a great deal when your legs are already weakening. So here is your swap. There is no need to be severe with yourself. Simply keep alcohol modest and occasional, rather than daily and heavy. On the evenings you do drink, make sure that meal still carries a real serving of protein, so the foreman still gets the message. And consider letting some evenings be alcohol-free, perhaps with sparkling water and a slice of lemon or a warm herbal tea. Your muscles, your balance, and your sleep will all quietly thank you. The third food to limit is sugary foods and drinks. This means soda, sweetened juices, the sugar stirred into coffee and tea all day, and the steady stream of sweets, candies, and desserts. 2 things happen here. First, just like refined carbs, sugary foods are pure displacement. A can of soda fills you with empty calories and leaves no room and no appetite for protein. Eleanor's afternoon biscuits and her lunchtime soda were giving her muscles nothing whatsoever. Second, a diet steady in sugar feeds that low, smoldering inflammation we talked about, the kind that quietly speeds up the tearing down of muscle. So here is your swap, and it is an easy one. Reach for whole fruit instead of sugary drinks and sweets. Whole fruit gives you the sweetness you crave, but wrapped in fiber, water, and antioxidants that actually protect your muscle instead of harming it. Swap the soda for water with fresh fruit in it. Swap the dessert most nights for berries with a spoon of Greek yogurt. Swap the sugar in your tea for a smaller amount, or none, and let your taste buds adjust over a couple of weeks. You are not banning sweetness. You are choosing a kinder source of it. The fourth food to limit is processed meats. I mean bacon, sausages, hot dogs, salami, bologna, and most packaged deli slices. Now I know this one stings a little, because a ham sandwich feels like an honest, protein-rich lunch, and processed meat does carry some protein. But here is the catch. These meats come with a heavy load of salt, preservatives, and other additives, and diets high in them are linked with more of that body-wide inflammation that works against your muscle. So they give you a little protein with one hand and stir up muscle-harming inflammation with the other. It is not the best trade for an aging body. And again, please hear me, I am not calling bacon deadly. An occasional rasher is fine. The point is to stop leaning on processed meat as your everyday protein. So here is your swap. Reach for fresh, whole protein instead. Swap the deli slices and salami for fresh roasted chicken or turkey that you slice yourself. Swap the breakfast sausage for eggs or for a piece of fish. Swap the hot dog for a bowl of lentil soup or beans. You will get a cleaner, stronger protein signal, with far less of the salt and additives that work against you. Your muscles, your blood pressure, and your heart all prefer the fresh version. The fifth food to limit may surprise you the most. It is very low-protein diet foods, the ones marketed as light, lean, or slimming. I'm talking about tiny, low-calorie frozen meals, fat-free flavored yogurts that are mostly sugar, plain rice cakes, broth-only soups, and the habit some older adults fall into of skipping meals or eating only a little to keep their weight down. Here is the danger, and it is a real one. After 70, eating too little, and especially eating too little protein, is one of the fastest ways to lose muscle. Your body, short on fuel and short on protein bricks, will actually break down your own muscle to get what it needs. So a diet that is very low in calories and very low in protein can quietly cost you the very strength you are trying to protect. Remember, an older body needs a bigger protein signal, not a smaller one. So here is your swap. Do not chase emptiness. Chase protein. Swap the tiny low-calorie frozen meal for a real plate with eggs, fish, beans, or chicken on it. Swap the sweetened fat-free yogurt for plain Greek yogurt, which has far more protein. Swap the habit of skipping lunch for even a small protein-rich bite, a boiled egg, a handful of nuts, a little cheese. Nourishing your muscles is not the enemy of healthy aging. It is the heart of it. So those are your 5 to limit. Ultra-processed and refined carbs, excess alcohol, sugary foods and drinks, processed meats, and very low-protein diet foods. And for each one, a warm, satisfying swap. Now let me show you how to actually put this into practice, because this is where most people leave their results on the table. The single most common mistake I see is trying to change everything at once. People hear a list like this, feel guilty, and swear off 10 foods on Monday morning, and by Friday they are exhausted and back to old habits. Please do not do that. Pick one swap this week. Just one. Perhaps you make breakfast your protein anchor and trade the pastry for eggs. Once that feels normal, add the next swap. Slow and steady is exactly how lasting change is built. The second mistake is thinking only about what to remove and forgetting what to add. This is not really a video about cutting things out. It is about crowding the good things back in. When your plate is full of real protein and whole food, there is naturally less room and less craving for the rest. So at every meal, ask one simple question first. Where is my protein? Build the plate around the answer, and the foods to limit tend to shrink on their own. And the third mistake is forgetting that food and movement work together. The food gives your muscles the bricks, but a little gentle movement is what tells them to actually use those bricks. You do not need a gym. After a meal with good protein in it, simply stand up and walk for a few minutes, or do a few slow sit-to-stands from a sturdy chair. The swap on your plate and the movement in your legs do far more together than either one alone. Now, I promised you honesty, so let me give you the safety part, because it truly matters. These are sensible, everyday changes, and for most people they are simply good nourishment, but a few people should check with their own doctor first. If you have kidney disease, or have been told to limit your protein, please do not raise your protein on your own. Higher protein can be hard on weakened kidneys, so your own doctor must guide exactly how much is right for you. If you have diabetes and take medication for it, changing how much sugar and refined carbohydrate you eat can lower your blood sugar, which is wonderful, but it means your doctor may want to watch your numbers, so please never change any medication on your own, and always do that together with your doctor. And if you take any regular medication and you are reducing alcohol, simply mention it to your doctor so they have the full picture. For most everyone else, these 5 gentle swaps are simply good, honest care for your body. Let me give you the one habit trick that turns all of this from a good idea into something you actually do. Make one meal your protein anchor and start there. For most of my patients, breakfast is the easiest. So every single morning, no decision required, breakfast carries a real protein, eggs or Greek yogurt, in place of the pastry or the sugary cereal. Once that one meal is solid, every other swap becomes far easier, because you have proven to yourself that you can do it and you have felt the difference. And here is a small bonus that stacks right on top. Drink a glass of water before you reach for a sugary drink or a snack. So much of what we read as hunger or craving in later life is actually mild thirst. A glass of water often settles the urge, and when you do still want something, you will choose more wisely. Water before the snack, protein at the center of the plate, and your own 2 feet moving a little after meals. That is a powerful, simple circle. So let me bring this all together for you. After 70, your muscle is not just fading on its own. It is being quietly drained by foods that crowd out protein and stir up inflammation. 5 of the biggest culprits are ultra-processed and refined carbs, excess alcohol, sugary foods and drinks, processed meats, and very low-protein diet foods. But you do not have to give up everything you love. You simply make a few warm, satisfying swaps. Eggs in place of the pastry, water and whole fruit in place of soda and sweets, fresh chicken or fish in place of the deli meat, a real protein-rich plate in place of the tiny diet meal, and alcohol kept modest and occasional. Add a little movement, change one thing at a time, and give it a few patient months. It costs you almost nothing extra. It asks only that you eat a little more thoughtfully, and it may help protect the very things you most want to keep as you age: your strength, your balance, and your freedom to stand on your own 2 feet and go where you please. If this was helpful to you, and you would like more simple, honest explanations like this one, please subscribe and join us here. This channel exists to help you stay strong, clear, and independent well past 70, and I would be honored to be a small part of that journey. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. A quick and important note. This video is for general educational purposes only, and it is not medical advice. Always speak with your own qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, your exercise, or your medications, especially if you have kidney disease, diabetes, or any other ongoing condition. Your doctor knows your body, so bring these ideas to them and let them help you use them